Jobs data is ridiculous. Blowout numbers, 130,000 new jobs versus 55,000 expected. Unemployment rates down, wages are going up. And our favorite at Brightcore News, the federal government lost 34,000 jobs. Pretty amazing stuff. This ties into so much of the agenda. But your reaction?
Well, the president is driving growth in America, right? I mean, you think about how you drive growth. You cut down your imports, right, by tariffing them. You drive your exports by opening all these foreign markets and driving their tariffs down, right? And those two things obviously drive economic growth. Then you bring $18 trillion. The president loves that number because it's monstrous. $18 trillion of domestic investment, all these factories being built here. And what you're going to get is you're going to get a manufacturing rebirth in America. You're going to get construction jobs blowing out the doors, and those are going to be followed by manufacturing jobs coming. So I think you're going to get the greatest growth the United States has ever seen.
The greatest growth the United States has ever seen. Welcome to the evening show, or the pre-show for the evening show, where I just make sure everything is straight. I put up a poll, and it was very interesting. With everything that happened today, 80% of you said you didn't see any good news. You saw the doom and gloom, you saw the panicans, you saw the black pillars, you saw everybody complaining about Epstein, you saw everybody worried about what happened in the Bondi thing, and then you're seeing the Senate, not the Senate, but the House having trouble getting votes. And then you probably thought to yourself, this has been one hell of a bad day. And then you realize between the Guthrie thing that Fox is doing, the Guthrie-thon, that they've decided to preempt all programming 24/7 Guthrie. Don't even know what the heck that is, excuse me. But what's really important is today, other than the reference I just made, you won't hear me say the words again. Not going to mention it. We're going to be here for an hour and a half or so. We're not even going to talk about that because so much good stuff happened today that I'm wondering how many people even saw this good news. And then there's another bit of news which could be good for some people, could be bad for others, that I'm wondering how many people you knew this, what I'm going to tell you first and foremost. First and foremost, what I have to tell you is that the leader of another country flew overnight to Washington, D.C., had a 3 or 4 hour meeting with President Trump, left, went back to their country, and I didn't see anybody in the news even mention it. Didn't see anything. So I'm wondering, do you guys know? Do you guys know that Bibi Netanyahu from Israel flew over overnight to get here to meet with President Trump, then fly back? President Trump, let me just show you this because this is kind of important. Nobody knew, or rather, we knew, many of us did, but nobody was talking about it. I have just finished meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel and various of his representatives. It was a very good meeting. The tremendous relationship between our two countries continues. There was nothing definitive reached other than I insisted that negotiations with Iran continue to see whether or not a deal can be consummated. If it can, I let the Prime Minister know that it will be the preference. If it cannot, we will just have to see what the outcome will be, which won't be good for Iran. The last time Iran decided that they were better off not making a deal, and they were hit with midnight hammer. That did not work well for them. Hopefully, this time, they will be more reasonable and responsible. Additionally, we discussed the tremendous progress being made in Gaza and the region in general. There is truly peace in the Middle East. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I'm not going to get into a bunch of arguments with trolls because I even mentioned the words Netanyahu and Israel. I'm more wanting to focus right now on the fact that nobody talked about it. Nobody seemed to even discuss it. And what was very interesting, as you guys saw or didn't see, there was no big, shaking of hands and pictures. There was no press conference, either before or after. It was a meeting with a world leader who flew into this country and then flew out, and nobody talked about it. That's how bad your media is. That is the epiphany. I mean, that should show you, like, wait a minute, these guys are awful, and they don't care about America. Something that big had basically no coverage whatsoever. A world leader comes to our country, and nobody wanted to talk about it. Luckily, there was so much more they didn't want to talk about that I am going to bring to you right after this. Let me tell you a second about today's sponsor, which is Brightcore. You see, early onset dementia, which I think some of the people in Congress have, and Alzheimer's are on the rise. Reports show a 373% increase in diagnoses among 30 to 44-year-old people and a 311% increase in people 45 to 54. That's just in the United States in recent years. When doctors treat these brain diseases, they often focus on medicating the brain itself, addressing symptoms instead of the root cause, which is chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. These factors damage brain cells and lead to the buildup of toxic proteins, the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease, much like what happens in the body. Many brain issues trace back to gut microbiome. There's a direct communication line between your gut and your brain, the gut-brain axis, they call it, where gut bacteria influences inflammation, your mood, your memory, and cognitive function. That's why what you eat matters so much. They did a study here, and this recent study shows that kimchi contains over 900 probiotic strains, and the study shows its bioactive compounds help reduce inflammation, protect brain cells, and even improve your memory and cognitive function by preventing amyloid beta plaque buildup. I bet you many of you didn't even know anything about amyloid beta plaque buildup, but now you do. That's why Brightcore created Kimchi One. It delivers all the benefits of real kimchi in convenient capsules with no bad taste, no smell, and virtually no sodium. It's made in the USA and it's non-GMO. And if you'd like to get yourself some Kimchi One, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link in the description for 25% off of your entire order. Or for an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off of your order and free shipping. Give them a call right now. Operators are standing by. 888-418-6738.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hold up. I was going to jump right into the show and begin talking, but I got to say something here. Somebody's got a birthday. Dawn says, Barry, today is my birthday. Nice to have good news. Well, Dawn, I hope you are going to have a happy birthday tonight. Hope you had a happy birthday all day. And the least I can do is make sure to bring you some good news. All right, let's get going with some good news.
This is a hot jobs report. I mean, there's really nothing in this not to like. You're seeing a lot of sectors that had been softer, like manufacturing, for example, looking better. You're seeing numbers that really nobody expected.
Say that nobody's going to rain on my parade, and these numbers are what they are, and 50K. I made this hat 2 months ago. And the reason I made it is for exactly a day like today. All these naysayers steeped in politics continue to be negative. That's okay, because 50K says you've all been wrong. You keep from going in the water even though it's very hot outside. I say all the investment gurus out there, jump in the markets in the U.S. because global GDP is going to take a big ramp up and the U.S. is leading the way.
Kitty, you want a hat?
I love that hat. And
non-farm payrolls for January coming in twice expectations at 130,000.
You're going to hear that said a few times in these cuts. 130,000 new jobs, twice what was forecast. They doubled the estimate. They doubled the projection. The economy is officially on fire. And nobody wanted to talk about it. Unless you saw CNBC or Fox Business, none of the other stations really spent much time talking about it. It was a blip before they started talking about, that island guy and everything that Pam Bondi was saying. They immediately stopped it. Why? Because they don't want you to know that things are great. Not good, great. And this is a part of the messaging I think President Trump has to get out there because he's fighting so much. People don't know about this. I mean, early this morning, he knew, and he posted this and said, the golden age is here. That was at 9:45 this morning, right after the numbers came out. He pretty quickly acknowledged it. And then he came back with this one at 9:46. Boom, boom, back to back. Just in, great job numbers, far greater than anyone expected. The United States of America should be paying much less on its borrowing, bonds, interest rate. We are, again, the strongest country in the world and should therefore be paying the lowest interest rate by far. This would be an interest cost savings at least $1 trillion per year. Balanced budget, no taxes. Wow, the golden age of America is actually upon us. And the thing with this, I bet you many people didn't even hear this, or if they did hear it, they didn't understand it. Sometimes when we talk financial numbers and, prosperity, people kind of tune out. But they have to understand, this is something that actually affects your life directly. Not Pam Bondi, not the dude who did stuff to the chicks. This affects your life directly. So why would you be spending so much time ogling at this car accident, wondering about the Guthrie grandma, or the women who don't seem to understand that they hold the key to their own prison? But this makes me smile.
130K, that would be the juiciest going back to April of last year when it was 158. Now, if we look at a couple of months worth of revision, they came in at minus 17,000. Now, let's look for average hourly earnings month over month, up 0.4. That's 1/10 higher than both looking back and looking forward. 0.4 would equal October last year. You are all the way back to the summer of 24 to find a higher month-over-month earnings number. Let's go year over year. 3.7 exactly as expected. 1/10 light to 3.8 in the rearview mirror. So how does that stack up? 3.7 would be the lightest since it was actually 3.6 Thanksgiving of last year. Now let's look at hours worked, shall we? 34.3. That increase, that's a good thing.
All right, so that's a big stat. The average hours worked per person in the job market is 34.3. It rose. Some of you guys, well, I don't want to work that much. How come it's not coming the other way? Because more people are working, and they're working longer hours, which means it's not just part-time, it's actually more full-time. Some people got overtime, some people didn't get full-time, but it's averaging out where the number is beginning to tilt, where there's almost full employment and people are all working full-time jobs, and how it averages out.
It's up 1/10 from both what we were expecting and our last look. 34.3 would equal November. To find a higher one, you're all the way back to March of 24. Now the unemployment rate may be the most important number of all, and it moves down 1/10, 4.3%. All the naysayers out there, they're going to like this set of data points.
I love how he talks. The naysayers, the panicans, the black pillars. Oh, the world's going to end. We've lost the midterms. Oh, just forget about it, because all anybody cares about is that guy. Well, the only reason people care about that guy is because that's all you freaking talk about. There's a pollster to not be named here anymore who will post 100 times a day as much negative crap as he possibly can compile, to the point where 80% of you like, I didn't see any of the good stuff. And here it is, as President Trump is saying, the golden era is here. And most of the problem with people right now who say their optimism is bad is because they don't even see it. That and the fact that they're Democrats and they're takers. Anybody who wants to do something, everybody who wants to seize opportunity is finding a way to do so. It's amazing. I get excited about this. I get excited when I see numbers like this. And I'm trying to get you guys acclimated to it because it's a different kind of news. It's the kind of news that actually affects you personally. And once people start training their brain, or if we can help them train their brain, they will begin to see the golden era is exactly that.
4.3 would be equal to where we were in August of last year. To find a lower number, you're looking at June of last year. Labor force participation moved up as well. More good news, 62.5. That would be the best since it was 62.6 in April of last year. And drumroll please, the final number I'm going to give you is U6, the underemployment rate, and it comes in at 8%. 8%. Last look was 8.4. 8% would be the best going all the way back to July when it was 7.9.
You see, part of the problem here is our school system, high school and college, doesn't teach kids this. And then you get them to be like they are today, and they're completely devoid of the information that is available to them. And this guy sounds like he's just throwing out numbers, and they have nothing to compare it to. They don't know anything about it. The only thing they know is that they're stuck working as baristas in Starbucks because they're not viable for something else. Nobody wants your Baroque art degree. And so perhaps you might want to start looking at the things that are going to make you more viable in the marketplace. I was listening to Glenn Beck this morning. It was very interesting. And he is talking to a guy who's an AI developer. And the guy who was talking Glenn Beck was kind of scared for it, and I was drooling. I'm like, I got to have me some of that. And the guy said in 2022, 2023, AI had a hard time adding 2 plus 2. Sort of like our high school students right now. They had a hard time. It couldn't compute 2.2. Then a year later, it had advanced to the point where it could learn how to do 2 plus 2 and then tell you how you can insert that into different formulas. And so people began using it to help them with, different formulas and computations. And now it has advanced to the point where you can put in different kind of information and it will literally, like last year, it could write you a business plan. Now it can create an entire business. It can do all the reasoning. It can do all the different scenarios, where you need to go ahead and lease a building, how you need to find everything in about 3 hours. And so he was talking about, can you imagine where it's going to be, a year from now or 2 years from now? And as I was listening, I'm excited because I like to use AI and I want to learn more. And if at my position, all I can do is just think, how much more can I learn? Please just feed me. I want to be an AI genius because I still want to learn at 65 years old. And I'm thinking, how many kids out there, when I say kids, I'm talking about Gen Z or whatever they want to label themselves, have no idea what to do? How many of you have no idea what to do? You may not even know what these numbers mean. And I think the apprehension is that people don't realize at this point it is necessary to re-educate yourself. Even if you're retired, you are going to have to learn how to re-educate yourself as you see this new economy change right before your eyes. Everything you do will be impacted by AI. There's no stopping it. You're not putting that genie back in the bottle. I know there's people who have a fear of it, but people used to have a fear of a car that used to drive down a road, because I got a horse here. I don't need this car. And then all of a sudden, you know what happened with fax machines and phones, and it just kept going. MTV, what's MTV? It used to be a thing that played, actual music. Things evolved, and they often evolve for the better once you learn how to use it. But the most important part about it, as the guy was talking this morning, I'm thinking, everything he's saying is about certain people starting new businesses to do this, this, and this. But at the same time, there's going to be people who need to turn the screw. There's going to be need to be people to put up the lights and run the baseboard and do all the things to create for the business to run. The HVAC. All of this is going to require people who can do it. And I think to, Robin's nephews. And they're both working in Las Vegas as HVAC mechanics. They're both making 6 figures a year fixing AC, because you don't want to be without AC in Las Vegas in the summer, just like down here. So that the golden era, per se, how things are going to be continually exploding, are going to require more people to do the things that the robots can't do yet. They're coming, but they can't do it yet. And the Democrats are doing everything possible to keep you from looking over there. They don't want you looking on the golden era. They don't want you looking at silver prices and gold prices. I had a conversation with Ashley today, and she's like, you know what? What happens if the Democrats take power? And what we're seeing, it could be likely. And I said, everything you've seen over the last year with Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and what's the other one, baldhead, Ayanna Pressley, should tell you one thing. And that one thing is, the Democrats behind the scenes use fiscal conservative practices and strategies. And they are never going to do away with those because they need them. How many of you know that Liz Warren buys and sells houses? They're never going to do anything to take away from their ability to prosper. And so, in the conversation I had with Ashley, it's like, well, do what they're doing. I don't mean go stealing. Don't open up an autistic center and steal. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the strategies, which are the same strategies they talk about on CNBC and Fox Business. You just have to educate yourself how to use this stuff. If you don't know, well, we'll just continue and let you hear what's going on.
130,000 jobs created for the month of January. Wow. The estimate was 70,000. Wow, I was right, Maria. 4.3% is the unemployment rate. The street was looking for 4.4.
Right. So if you're hearing people on set who talk about numbers all day long, and they're sitting there going, wow. If it's wowing these people who have been talking about numbers and business and finance their entire careers, like Maria Bartiromo, how come you're not going, whoa, wow? See, because every single of those people you heard in the background going, whoa, wow, is because they know what it means to them. See, that's the problem. We watch the Guthrie thing, and we watch the hearings, and we watch these different things, and none of what you hear matters to you whatsoever. There's nothing that makes you go, wow. These people who are knee-deep in business went, wow. Yeah, this is good.
This is not the kind of report we expected to see, guys. Let me give you the government jobs picture. That is negative 42,000 on the government side's part of the equation. We saw that in the reports previously.
All right, so I wanted to stop there because this is the part where the Democrats start poo-pooing everything, and you don't have the information to say, what do you mean? That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. When you look at what exactly has happened, under President Trump, federal employment has declined to its lowest level, and that's not a misprint, since 1966. We're in 2026. In 60 years, we haven't seen the diminishment of the federal workforce the way we have in less than a little over a year since Trump's been in office. The lowest level in recorded history as a share of total workforce. And when you look at this chart and you see that it's been way up here, and then bam, that's not by accident. That's by design. Get these bodies out of Washington. Get these bodies out of here from sucking the teat of people who they only exist because they're just DEI, just sitting at a desk somewhere, stealing your money, not doing anything, not even showing up. And President Trump has basically said, you got to go. Steve Moore says January jobs report private hiring surges, government jobs shrink. And then, when you look at the actual charts on these things, it blows you away when you see the difference. When you see below the line is where government jobs is. See, government doesn't need to be as big as that is. People need to leave the government and go find a job elsewhere. And so that's what the Democrats just focus on. Oh, it's the lowest level on purpose. This is why it's like almost a boomerang effect, because these people were working in the government, just siphoning off money, and now all of a sudden they got to get up there, get their butts in the morning and go to work, just like everybody else does. Geiger Capital had posted this. This is insane. The number of federal government employees is now at its lowest level in 60. He said 50. It's nearly 60. It dropped off a cliff after Trump was elected. This is what you voted for. You specifically wanted him to, drain the swamp. Drain the swamp just didn't mean the people in the deep state. It meant everything in the swamp. Pull the plug. Let that water drain. It's working. It's happening. The problem is not enough people know it. 60 years, the lowest in 60 years. Yeah, I mean, you seriously have to let that kind of stuff sink in. And, I'm not going to read this one because, my gosh, it's long. This is Caroline Levitt, and she posts this because nobody's talking about it. And if you follow her on X, she goes through a litany of things that are happening in the golden era. Dow Jones went over 50,000. National median rents now at a 4-year low. Mortgage affordability, which we're going to talk about, is surging. I did an interview today. I'll be showing it tomorrow. She's a Gen Z reporter, and I said, what's affecting people your age and your demographic? Well, affordability. And it was very interesting. You're going to hear this in the interview. And I said, what is it you can't afford? Well, they say, that was my first indication. They say, you used to be able to buy a house at 40. Now it's like 50 or whatever. And then I just, because you open the door, tell me exactly what is precluding you from buying a house. Crickets. It's because just like you're watching CNBC and Fox Business Cuts, they don't know. They've just glommed onto a catchphrase. It's affordability. We can't buy a house. And I've told you many times, I could parachute into any city in the country and buy a house within 5 or 6 days and really not have to put much money down, if any at all. Why? Because I know how to do it. That's the problem these people are having. And because of that, they're not understanding all this stuff. U.S. manufacturing activity expanded. You heard Howard Lutnick talk about that. Consumer sentiment, third quarter GDP, gas prices in 17 of the top 20 metro areas with the largest migrant populations. Homeless prices declined year over year, and on and on and on. And nobody is talking about it. They have been successful in getting the media to make people look away. These hearings today were a complete joke. And it is a round-robin attack. All right, thank you, attack. Thank you, attack. And it's such theater. I can't even believe people, pass the clips around. I can't even believe I sat through 3 hours of it today. When I was off screen, I just sat back and go, is there anything else I can be doing right now? And I gotta believe many of you feel the same way. What are we watching here? What is this? These are the people that are elected to run this country, and they sound like sophomoric bad girls, mean girls, whatever it was called. It's incredible. But then I step away and I start looking at the good stuff, and I start smiling. I start getting happy again because I know what this means. And too many of you, how do I say this? Too many of you think it's a bad thing. You know what's a bad thing? A bad thing is to be washed with all the crap that you hear because it just brings you down. A bad thing is to be subject to the programming that they put upon you that makes you think things are so bad. When people have asked me directly and they say, how bad is it? I'm like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know what people are. Oh, Barry, well, you got money. Not that much, but I want more. And so to do that, I know I need to do different things to make sure I can continue to provide for my family. It's not a bad thing. You've been conditioned to thinking it's a bad thing. The church where we go to, here let me drop some science on you. The church that Robin and I go to is expanding. They just bought a building from Macy's for like $30 million right here in Boca. They bought a showroom from Macy's for $30 million, and then they're spending another $10 million getting it ready. Before they open the doors, that church is going to be into it for about $40 million. I didn't stutter. My church is spending $40 million. How can they do that? Well, I'm pretty sure the pastor and his team understand what I'm showing you tonight. They understand forecasting, how many people are going to show up, how many people are going to tithe, what can we do here, what kind of ministries are we going to fund, all this stuff. And yet we have people who don't understand this kind of finance, and they're at the whim and mercy of the media or friends who don't know any more than they do. It was funny. I like telling you these little anecdotes. Ashley and the kids will be here Friday. And so I said, "Do you want to go to a movie?" Like, we'll go to a movie. And my young grandson, he wasn't here the last time we went to the movies. And I'm like, "You sure he wants to go see a kid's movie with his little sister?" And he's like, he's all in. I'm like, "What do you mean he's all in?" He hadn't even seen anything. And his little sister told him, it's unbelievable. They just bring food and candy to your seat for free. And we both kind of laughed, and I chuckled with Robin, is because, okay, here comes the lesson. There's nothing free. Grandpa, grandma, and mom are taking care of it, but you don't see it. It just helicopters in, and here's your burger, and here's your candy, and here's all this. You just eat. Right now, they're takers, and that's okay, because they're little kids. But at the same time, with Trump accounts and everything else, we need to show these young people how to become makers instead of just takers. Badia Ungar said this: turns out when you deport 500,000 people and 2 million more voluntarily go home, Americans do line up for the jobs they were doing, and companies have to pay them more. Trump repudiated the Democrats' addiction to cheap labor. And her article is the latest jobs report proves Trump's theory of the economy. Tariffs and deportations put money in the pockets of working class Americans, which was really interesting because at the same time all of this good stuff is going on, you have some members of Congress who decided today they wanted to overrule Trump on tariffs and cancel the tariffs on Canada. What stupid people. First of all, you're not going to get enough votes to override the veto. That's never going to happen. So all you did is pull your pants down and bent over so Trump can spank you for nothing. And spanking is what he's going to do. Any Republican in the House or the Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time, and that includes the primaries. Our trade deficit has been reduced by 78%. The Dow has just hit 50,000, S&P 7,000, all numbers that were considered impossible just 1 year ago. In addition, tariffs have given us great national security because the mere mention of the word has countries agreeing to our strongest wishes. Tariffs have given us economic and national security, and no Republican should be responsible for destroying this privilege. Yet they are. I forget who the four people are. Of course, one of them was Massey. Another one of them was Riley from California, and two others in the House decided they were going to vote with the Democrats to end the tariffs in Canada. Big mistake. Big mistake. All right, let's keep going.
We also saw labor force participation rate 62.5%. Average hourly earnings 0.41%. That is actually higher than the expectations. Average hourly earnings month to month a little bit higher than expected. Private payrolls 172,000. I had to do a double take. 172,000 private jobs. Guys, that's 100,000 above the estimate. We were looking for 70.
Think about that. 172,000. Hey, everybody, that's 100,000 more than what we even projected. This economy isn't on fire. It is now a complete, utter storm of fire. Democrats won't tell you that. The media won't tell you that. That's on us. That's on us to ring the bell and go, are you not looking at this? You're not getting some. And if you're not getting some, it's not too late. That's the big thing. We're only a year in.
Thousand. The average work week, 34.3 hours. Let me get to the report here and give you a sense of what the government is saying about where the jobs are. We've seen healthcare, we've seen retail, but basically, where is this? Let's see here. Healthcare, social assistance, construction. Those were where they saw the buildup in jobs. The decreases they saw, as I mentioned, federal government, and also financial activities. They're mentioning a job loss in those two sectors. So that's actually very interesting as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because people don't need the people in the financial activities. You got places like Robinhood and Coinbase and the Pelosi tracker and going directly to a company like Lear and buying your own gold and silver. That you don't need the crap. You don't need to pay huge commissions anymore. With the right education, you can go ahead and pick and purchase your own investments. But you hear the ones that went up. Construction. Construction meaning people are building stuff. And right now, the robots aren't at a position where they can build stuff, so they need people to do it. And by the way, once you have all these newcomers who had to leave the country, that's a whole lot of jobs for Americans. Americans that want to work. See, that's the other thing. The people who are seeking out opportunity.
But again, a very different story, Maria. I am seeing the U.S. dollar right now strengthening on my screen, and I'm seeing the Treasury yields really jump after this report. I'm going to dig more into the specifics and send it back to you.
I think a lot of people would say this is starting off the year on the right foot because we're seeing 130,000 jobs added for the month of January. The expectation was just 70,000. We also saw the unemployment rate falls to 4.3%. The expectation there was 4.4%. Take a look at where we saw jobs added and lost. Healthcare, 120.
All right, so I wanted to show this on the screen so you can actually see it. Healthcare and social assistance plus 123. You can thank Maha for that and what he's been doing. Professional business services, accountants, people of that nature, 34,000. Construction, 33,000. Financial activities lost 22,000, and then government lost 42,000 jobs. So within those numbers that you're looking at, it also shows the displacement. So those 42,000 government jobs that went down, they probably went into the healthcare, a lot of them into healthcare and social assistance. They were doing it on the government side, and they're like, okay, well, I'll start doing it over here. And so we're moving chairs here, and you're going to work here, and you're going to work here, but you're not going to be sucking off the government. You're going to get out there and actually have to earn it. You're going to have to compete. And again, you're going to hear this over and over as we go through here. Media's not talking about it. Democrats don't talk about it. They can't focus on any of this. It completely destroys their narrative. And they need to keep talking about the guy and the women and the different things because it's here. They work here. Numbers are very hard. Numbers are non-emotional. This is emotional. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. It's so awful. We need to do something. And people turn their focus away, except for the smart people are looking at this and going, yeah, I can't do anything about Epstein. I need a tip jar. Put a quarter in. I said the name. I can't do anything about that. It's been going on since 1996. Many administrations, but I can definitely play in this sandbox. I know I can play in this sandbox. And I know that you can play in this sandbox.
3,000 added. Also, professional and business services and construction adding 34 and 33,000 jobs respectively. A lot of people probably like to see that. Losing jobs for the month, financial activities. And here you go, government down 42,000 jobs. Revisions for the months of November and December show 17,000 fewer jobs were added than first believed. And also coming out today, Stuart, the Labor Department cut prior job numbers stretching back nearly 2 years. Looking at 2024, the last year of the Biden administration, the U.S. produced only 1.2 million jobs versus the previously estimated 2 million jobs. So
they were fake. They were padding the numbers to try and win an election. How insidious, how deviant is that? And how much of a fact is that that's buried and nobody's talking about? And these are the kind of things you guys, oh, wait a second. You guys need to be writing down. They did what? Yeah, they padded the numbers. It was all fake. And now they drop 1 million jobs off of their final total because that then substantiates what President Trump says is we were handed the keys to a lemon. You remember Obama saying for many times, everyone's said it, but maybe you don't remember. He could have just get used to this. What's Donald Trump got? A magic wand? He must have one big ass magic wand right about now. The man's talking about a 15% growth. Not 2, not 3, 15% growth. If he fails at 15 and we hit 7 or 8, we're still going to be skiing down the slope like, some of these people in the Olympics. Not like Lindsey Vonn, but you get my point. But if you're not getting yourself positioned to take advantage of this, you're just sitting there watching people go down the snow and watching news that doesn't help you.
Weaker coming out of the Biden administration than we expected, that we first believed, rather.
People say their expectations, well, we were surprised. But, really, when I think about it, we've added construction jobs are up, manufacturing jobs are up, and that's been a testament to the investments of $18 trillion that the president has negotiated and brought back to the American people and the American economy. I've mentioned I have been on the road. I'm going to visit my 48th state tomorrow out of the 50-state tour. We're seeing the application of what the workforce is being offered by their employees. They're investing in hiring. We are reskilling. We're upskilling. We've been focused on the apprenticeship program. Over 330,000 new apprentices have been registered with the Department of Labor since.
What did she say? Did you hear that? I didn't want that. This is Lori. I forget her last name, but she's the Secretary of Labor. I want you to hear what she just said. Just listen to this again.
Seeing the application of what the workforce is being offered by their employees. They're investing in hiring. We are reskilling. We're upskilling. We've been focused on the apprenticeship program. Over 330,000 new apprentices have been registered with the Department of Labor.
1.5 gigawatts? 300,000 apprenticeships. Even I hadn't heard that number. 300,000. 300,000. Carpenters, plumbers, electricians, HVAC. 300,000 apprenticeships. I've never heard anybody even quote that number before. Never mind just drop it in a sentence. They got 300,000. What'd you just say? I'm sorry. You sound like Bad Bunny to me right now. I don't know. I don't know the words coming out of your mouth. 300,000 apprenticeships. Wow.
Trump's Labor Department took office. I mean, when I think about the dedication that we have done on the ground, we're seeing those in those numbers.
So tell me, as you're hearing these numbers and you're hearing 300,000 apprenticeships, people who are seizing on opportunity, who want to do things, who see a career path that they want to follow, how in the hell are we going to lose the midterms? How in the hell are we going to lose 2028? What are you going to compare that to? Communism? Socialism? And I asked that question to people. I'm like, you heard me talk to the pollster guy. How the hell are you comparing this? You're solely talking about emotion. Oh, people are getting deported, and the guy who had the island. And do you think people who are in an apprentice program trying to secure their future give a shit about that guy? I told you before, start talking to your friends, family, coworkers. Hey, you care about this dude? No. What do you care about? I care about being able to buy my wife, my girlfriend, a present this weekend for Valentine's Day and still have enough to pay the rent on the first. That's what I care about. I care about being able to take my wife, my girlfriend, my paramour someplace nice to dinner this weekend. By the way, guys, you got 3 days, three days. That's what people care. Hey, she wants some flowers. She wants some candy. She wants to go be treated nice this weekend. But Epstein, I almost said it again. But can't. Okay, what do we do about the survivors? I'll tell you what. Ask her on Saturday night what she thinks about the survivors. I want you to go to her on Saturday. Honey, I was going to take you to a nice restaurant, get you some flowers, some roses. I was going to have the mariachi guys come and play a song. I love you. But then I thought about the survivors, and I'm like, we have to sit home. Good luck with that.
Happened is that there were a lot of Wall Street analysts who were predicting that a reduction in the labor force was going to make a bad number. And in fact, CNBC had a headline saying that the jobs number is going to be zero. Bloomberg had a headline saying the jobs number is going to be zero.
That's what's really important. I had seen those headlines, and I was like, all right, let me brace myself for tomorrow's show, because tomorrow's show is going to be tough, because here's what's going to happen. The numbers are going to come in zero. And I'm thinking, these people, they're trying to influence stuff, and it's trying to stop a train and getting run over. Because today, the same people who didn't talk about the economy would have been talking there. Oh, can you imagine what they would have been saying if things looked bad? We're in month one. And January is sometimes usually a slower month because people blow their money over the holidays, and they're rebanking in January and February. And it blew it out.
And private sector jobs, which is our main focus right now because we've been reducing government employment, they went up 170,000. They absolutely blew out any expectation whatsoever. So it's really a remarkable, strong number. And to put it in perspective, to get that much job creation while that basically the labor force is declining some because people are leaving the country and being deported is a really remarkable thing. The bottom line is I'd say there's 3 facts that I think that I really hope that the viewers would think about. Thing one is that we've been hearing this story that artificial intelligence is going to take away people's jobs, right? Well, in this report, labor force participation is the highest it's been in the United States since 2001.
Highest labor participation rate since HAL was a machine inside of the movie. I thought that was kind of interesting. You know what movie I'm talking about, HAL? What's a Space Odyssey, whatever it is. 2001. 2001, 25 years ago, and our numbers are better than they've been in that regard in 25 years. I just thought that parallel from 2001 Space Odyssey, when Hal was doing all the stuff and everyone was worried about AI, and all AI is doing is causing more businesses to open that need people to do the stuff in the business that AI says, hey, you're going to need 3 people to do this. You're going to need 4 people to do that. And it tells you who to hire. Man, this is so exciting.
And so we actually have more people going into the labor force than we've seen in 2 decades. And so that this AI effect is not there. The next thing is that the government employment, because President Trump's team has given people early retirement and so on, and the Doge movements early in the spring, that we've reduced government employment, federal government employment, by 360,000 or so people. That's the lowest share of the labor force that's working for the federal government since 1966.
So he was making the rounds this morning and telling everybody all the good stuff, and he's smiling, and he's on MS Now on Morning Joe show, and off screen I can only see these guys sitting like this going, how do we negatively spin this? Can we just get them off the air real quick? I don't know what to do about this.
And what that means is that $29 billion this year, less will be spent on government salaries, and that helps reduce interest rates and balance the budget. So there's a heck of a lot of good news in this report. But the bottom line I can say is that by achieving the cuts that we have, then we've permanently, perhaps, maybe not completely permanently, as some people cut back, we've reduced federal workers by 360,000 people, and that's like almost $30 billion a year in savings. And so
he's on CNN now, as you can see the time, hours later, and he's just grinning. Yeah, we are eviscerating the government, which, the Democrats are sitting there going, what's he doing? Those are our voters. They count on us. We give them cushy jobs, no-show jobs like we're on The Sopranos here, and they're getting rid of them. And the judge, the appellate court said, yeah, you can fire all these people. Well, you want money, you need to go get a regular job. And they're smiling about it. This is fantastic news. I hope you guys are starting to get this here.
What President Trump is doing is taking a big step towards getting closer to a balanced budget. We were in a fiscal situation that was completely out of control when he came into office, and now we've reduced the deficit by about $600 billion this year because of high growth, tariff revenue, and reducing the federal workforce. And that kind of fiscal responsibility is something that people have been asking, governments of both parties to do for a long time.
Decades. Can you believe we haven't had a balanced budget in like forever? Something that every single one of you has to do. You can't spend more than you make. You can't outspend your revenue. And government just like, I don't care, we'll just take more from the people. And we'll give it to whoever, and we'll steal the rest. And we're going to throw it into this country for a kickback, and throw it into this country for a kickback. Hey, it's running dry. Oh, let's just raise taxes. Make the little mice and hamsters spit off more money to give us. I'm telling you, it's coming. If the Supreme Court says that the tariffs are okay, I can't guarantee it, but I'm telling you, we may see a proposal to end income tax by July or August. And I can see, Barry, how do you see that? Balanced budget, trillions of dollars brought in, cutting expenses. See, there's only two ways to get your economic house in order. Make more money or spend less. Every single one of us understands that. I need to either have more revenue, more income, or I need to spend less. Right? You agree with that? Now imagine you do both, which is unheard of in government. You get a better job, but you might spend more because all of a sudden you want to get a boat or whatever. The government has always been this way. We're never going to catch up to how much we want to spend. And now Trump's like, why don't we cut and get more revenue? Well, then that's where I keep seeing that taxes can go away, because this isn't going to stop. This is going to continue to drop. And so if there's such a discrepancy, we're not talking about a balanced budget anymore. We're talking about a surplus. And if we can get to the point where we have a surplus that's, somewhat permanent, why do I need to keep taxing the American people? Which is why the Democrats go crazy. Their grift, gone. Their theft, gone. Their pet projects, gone. That's a destruction. That is detonating the entire Democrat Party.
130,000 jobs in January, and the unemployment rate, that headline number, dropped down to 4.3%. Joining us now is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Mr. Secretary, welcome to you. Obviously, it's a good day for the Trump administration. Is this another boost for the Trump economic agenda?
Sandra, John, good to be with you. And look, this is what we've been setting the table for all of 2025. I've said that repeatedly. We've put the necessary ingredients, policies into place, and now they're starting to pay off. And what's more impressive here is the number that you just gave is the total jobs. There were more than 170,000 private sector jobs, and there was about a 40,000 decrease in government jobs. So as I've been saying since this administration came into office, we are reprivatizing the economy.
Yeah, I just wanted to drill down on that just a little bit. We can put it up on the screen. 130,000 jobs created in total, 172,000 of those in the private sector, 42,000 job loss overall in government, 34,000 at the federal level. There are analyses that say that this is a real sign of growth here. You're shrinking the cost of the federal government while at the same time you're expanding the private sector.
I just said that. I just said that. We are in a scenario right now which we haven't been in quite some time. We're dropping expenses and raising income. And wait a second, what do we do here? This is uncharted territory. That's why I think we're going to he'll do away with taxes.
So what does that bode in terms of a projection for economic growth this year?
Well, I'm not going to go out with specific numbers, but I think we're going to have a very strong number for 2026 for the second quarter, third quarter. The numbers were about 4.1. We'll see where the fourth quarter comes in. But if the fourth quarter comes in around that level, we will have been about 3% for the year. And we are clearly accelerating from there. We've got very large foreign direct investment, and that showed up. We had a big increase in construction jobs. And everyone had been asking me for months, when are the manufacturing jobs going to appear? And I said, well, this is a matter of sequencing. Unlike in the financial markets where the transaction's instantaneous, that when a corporation decides to reshore, when a foreign corporation decides to build a new factory, there's planning, there's permitting, and now we're starting to see the groundbreaking. So first we're going to get the construction jobs. I would expect a continual pickup in construction, and then over the...
Now, my dad used to be in construction, so I'm going to give you a little bit of insight here too. It's February. See, up north and probably some places in the Midwest, it's very hard to do some construction projects when it's -5 degrees below zero. So I'm pretty much thinking once spring comes, when people can get out there and walk up and down a roof without sliding off and breaking a neck, you're going to see even more construction happening. There are certain places where you can't even pour concrete because it's too cold out right now. So imagine that. If we're seeing these numbers in January, and we're just at February, mid-February right now, and we're looking at January, what do you think the numbers are going to look like in May and June and July? Those of you who work construction, that's when things all pick up. So if they're picking up this fast in January, because I'm referring to the report from last month, what do you think it's going to be like in the spring and summer? It's going to explode. It has to, because it naturally does every single year. That's another puck that's skating over there. You can skate to it. You know what's going to happen. And so as you're planning your own stuff, whether it's investment based or it's things you want to do business wise, now would be a great time to start planning where you want to be come the spring. In fact, you might be behind the 8 ball already. Get going. Get your butt out there. Start doing some stuff. This is amazing information. And all it took was a new president, someone who actually knew business and then surrounded himself with people who know business. So everything they're doing, they've already done it. They're just doing it on a bigger scale. There's nobody in the Democrat Party, it seems, who has any idea what to do. Not Kamala. All they know is how to spend money and hopefully give it away, which incidentally, as you're seeing these numbers right now, the Democrats are seeing these numbers right now. I would say I would almost know that they're not shutting they're not going to try and shut the government down because of ICE. They're going to try and shut the government down because they need to do something about limiting how this economy is growing. If people feel different in their pocketbooks in the spring and summer, they're done. And so they have to try and stop it with a shutdown. They don't have any choice, because if people just coming off of Christmas are like, I don't feel it yet, and you start feeling it in April, May, June, and you start feeling it good, and you start seeing overtime, no tax on tips, no tax on, there's nothing they can do to recover.
The coming months, we will see a pickup in factory jobs.
You know, Mr. Secretary, when I go down my economic sheet here, which I look at every single day, I see a lot of things that are just working. I mean, you have the American stock market at all-time highs, seemingly booming. You've got oil prices down, gas prices down. AAA continues to report that those are dropping for the American consumer. Inflation has slowed. What area of the economy do you worry the most about?
Well, look, Senator, what we're seeing, and my career on Wall Street for 35, 40 years, that what I've always seen is we are seeing now in the stock market a broadening out. The market had been led by some very big tech companies for several years, and now we are seeing the small cap indices do better. We're seeing regional banks. We're seeing cyclical indices do better. So I think that finally we are seeing the Wall Street is now telling you that Main Street is going to do better. And look, that's what our focus has been from day one. Wall Street's done better for years, for decades, and now it's time for Main Street to participate also.
In just about an hour, Secretary Hegseth is coming over to USDA. We'll be hosting an event, doing a press conference, and signing a memorandum of understanding that an unprecedented effort to ensure that our departments are working together. I appreciate you've always been so great to let me come on and talk about how farm security is national security.
Now, I wanted to include this piece because it's not just the Treasury. It's the entirety of the cabinet, of the administration. You know that Brooke Rollins here is Secretary of Agriculture, and she's talking about how they're starting to boom. And I'm going to show you some other people inside the administration who are, it's a whole of government approach.
That before President Trump came into office, the consolidation of our farmlands, the foreign adversarial ownership of farmlands, especially from China and other places, has really been creeping up on our country. Now we have almost 300,000 acres owned by China. Of course, a lot of our food supply and food sources are now foreign, come from foreign sources. And we're working to reverse that while at the same time protecting our farmers, protecting our farmland from our foreign adversaries. So it's just another step in the right direction. I'm so proud of Secretary Hegseth. He has leaned all in on this, as has the president, and we're going to keep fighting for our American farmers and ranchers.
Well, you have to wonder why, again, why did the Democrats allow the Chinese to take over the farmland in America? That's absolutely insane. It's as insane as trying to buy masks for a disease from the people who created the disease. Everything the Democrats did made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Why the hell would China be in control of our farms? And I heard that and I was like, yes, take them back.
Have a short period of time to make it better for Americans to afford a home. And as you alluded to, mortgage rates are coming down. Mortgage affordability is at its highest point in 4 years. Over 5 million people as of this January were able to refinance their homes and bring down their monthly payments. And so it's good news right now. There's much work that has been done, much to be done. But
this is, by the way, in case you don't recognize him, this is Scott Turner, who is the Secretary of HUD. And so I'm segueing into some, like I said, some of the other parts of the administration who are following Trump's lead and going after different ways Americans can do different things with their money and how they can begin prospering across the board.
I think at this pace, the American people can be encouraged that President Trump has prioritized housing affordability.
Well, I characterize us as having good momentum thanks to President Trump. You know, Biden destroyed the housing market for 4 years, Sandra. If you can think about it, mortgage rate.
This guy here is Bill Pulte, and Bill Pulte is Secretary Director of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and these things. So he and Scott Turner are working hand in hand to make sure that the mortgages can be gotten at a cheaper price.
It went up almost to 8%. Now we recently saw a 5%, a 5 handle on mortgage rates. That's a huge victory. We're headed the right direction. We still have work to do. But obviously with these slam dunk economic numbers and everything else that we're doing in the housing market, I'm very confident that we're going to get the American dream back. It's just a darn shame what happened these last 4 years. And boy knows we have our work cut out for us.
Yeah. Mr. Secretary, I want to shift gears a bit now to HUD's role in helping President Trump crack down on widespread fraud. Can you tell us more about this, since HUD offers several housing and rental assistance programs, but at the expense of American taxpayers?
Yes, ma'am. You know, we first came in, we wanted to take inventory of every program at HUD. And I know every cabinet member across this federal government, including with the president's leadership, we want to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse. And you saw our agency financial report. We found billions of dollars of payment error. We found payments going to tens of thousands of dead people, ineligible tenants around our country, those that are not American citizens. So we signed an MOU with the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that everybody that receives HUD-funded housing is indeed an American citizen. We also stopped FHA mortgages from going to illegals around our country. American people are our only priority, and so we want to make sure that HUD-funded housing, which is backed by taxpayers in America, goes to American citizens and not to illegals in our country.
See, one of the questions I have for the knuckleheads who say they can't afford a house. If you now know, because it's been exposed, if you now know that the newcomers were buying houses with FHA mortgages, how were they able to get FHA mortgages and you can't? Nobody's talking about that. They were, the FHA mortgages, you can basically, like I said, fog a mirror and get an FHA mortgage. Your credit can be somewhere in the neighborhood of 530, 550. You only need to have 3% down, which can be gifted to you. So you could buy a $200,000 house for just about $6,000 down, and somebody else can even gift you the $6,000. How is it too hard to buy a home? They were doing it. And if you say, well, you know, they were out there giving them the down payment. All right, well, you know, there's down payment assisting companies out there as well. And I would venture to say, if you're going to buy a $200,000 house and you can't afford $6,000, you have not saved up $6,000 between you and your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife. You don't have you don't deserve to have a house. Remember, if you're going to get an apartment, you're going to have to pay first, last, and security, plus your moving expenses. You got to have that money, and it's probably going to be a decent apartment. It's probably going to cost you about $1,200 or $1,500 a month, and boom, you're right there at a down payment. Make it make sense. And like I said, it's a whole of government approach. This was Chris Wright also talking about some oil. Listen to this.
It is an honor to stand here with you today and to be among the tremendous people of Venezuela.
We got our one of our energy secretary is down in Venezuela. People wondered how it was going to be. Are we going to take over? Yeah, we took it over. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Yeah, they got their own president. Yeah, winkety wink wink. Yeah, she's running stuff. Then why are you down there going, yeah, I'm glad to be here working with you guys because, give us some oil.
As Interim President Rodriguez mentioned, our countries share a long history that has gone through different chapters, as all relationships do. But I bring today a message from President Trump. He is passionately committed to absolutely transforming the relationship between the United States and Venezuela, part of a broader agenda to make the Americas great again, to bring our countries closer together, to bring commerce, peace, prosperity, jobs, opportunity to the people of Venezuela and in partnership with the United States. These are not just words or ambitions, but we have very specific plans and very specific actions already.
You got a member of the Trump administration on foreign soil telling people in another country, we're going to help you get rich. And we're going to help you feel safe while you're getting rich. And meanwhile, people in our country, you got to pay your fair share. No, you can't do this. You got to be a communist. No, nobody in the world wants this. People are like watching that speech go, prosperity? What are you talking about? I just want toilet paper. Can I get toilet paper? If I get some toilet paper, I'll be happy. I can get 2 rolls. I can get it delivered with bread. You see, people who have truly been oppressed are going to be arms wide open for prosperity, arms wide open for America. Make the Americas great again. I love how he said that. Nobody wants communism given the opportunity not to have it. Cuba, you're on deck. Except for the idiots in our country who are trying to ruin it for Americans. Make it make sense. Why isn't every single Democrat embracing this kind of prosperity for America? Think about that for a second. They're all stealing money. They must like it. Why do they not want it? Because that would mean the end of their party, because the power aspect of things supersedes the financial ability for other people to enjoy life. If they really truly cared about America, why wouldn't they be carrying a message of prosperity to other countries? They don't want it. So again, I'll tell a pollster, tell me how many people in this country don't want prosperity. I'd love to hear that poll. I'd love you to ask the people, would you rather have communism or would you rather have prosperity? And then tell me how that shakes out for a November loss. Next thing up, President Trump posted this about 15 minutes ago. One big thing, stunning crime crash. And some of you guys might be thinking, what stunning crime crash? Well, he was referring to this because it's out everywhere. And it says, major U.S. cities overall experienced a steep drop in violent crime last year, according to a statistical analysis released by major cities chiefs associations. So you're telling me if you enforce the law, people will like it. You tell me if you enforce the law, the bad guys will stop being bad guys for the most part because they don't want to go to jail. I won't say any, but I bet many of you, if you had run for office, what you're seeing President Trump do, you're like, I could do that. Let the police go arrest people. I know where they are. They're over there by the drugstore in that part of town. Basically, go to Martin Luther King Drive or whatever and just drive up and down it. You find them. They're all out there. We all know it. That's not racist. Excuse me. I always make fun of it. Why do you have to honor Martin Luther King by putting his name on a road where all the hood rats are? Because if you're a sheriff or a cop and you just drive up Martin Luther King Boulevard, Avenue, wherever, you know it. You've been there. You've seen it. I'm not saying anything you don't know. Let's not clutch any pearls here. Let's be big boys and girls about this and understand what we're talking about. All right, so this is the article he was referencing on Axios. Let me go ahead and put this right here so you guys can see this. Not right now. All right. Hold on. Let me move this over. All right. And let me shrink the window a little bit so we all can see what's going on. All right, here we go. Hello Wednesday, situational awareness. Okay, here. Come on, go down here. Violent crime plunged across America's biggest cities in 2025. I just referenced that Major Cities Chief Association report that I said why it matters. If these staggering drops in major cities are reflected in broader national figures that'll come later, the U.S. homicide rate in 2025, listen to this, the U.S. homicide rate in 2025 would be the lowest observed since at least 1900. When was America great? America great when we didn't have people killing each other for sport. You're telling me so far the preliminary numbers are such that the murder rate may be the lowest observed since at least 1900. So it may be before that. In case you guys don't do your math, that's a long time ago, 200 years. 100 would be 2000. Yeah, no, 126 years. And back then, they didn't even have like big guns and stuff. 100 years. Between the lines, experts say a complex tangle of technological and social factors has curtailed homicides since the surge during COVID. Research credits policing strategies and incarceration rates and very long-term trends that include mental health treatments and yada, yada, yada. The big picture. The report shows declines across every major violent crime category in 2025 compared to 2024. Every major category since President Trump took office. Anybody tell you that today? Anybody, anywhere, talk to you about how we have the lowest homicide rate since 1900? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, and I'm thinking some of you are sitting back and going, this is just absolutely insane. How can it be even that it's that low? Oh, you just got a new president. That's why. You got a new president, and that new president has basically made it a safe, potentially prosperous country. Imagine when we get nationwide voter ID. Nope, not on MSM. Not going to hear it. And this is the kind of content I'm going to strive to bring to you because I think we have a niche here. I think we have a niche here of people not ever seeing the good stuff. I don't even have Fox on a monitor in here because I know it's probably Guthrie. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then the rest of them are going to be talking about the island guy and the surviving chicks. And they're going to talk about Bondi and the exchanges and all that. What's that do for you? I guess they missed the memo. I mean, that last stat I wanted to show you. At this point, you look at that last stat and go, wait a second, 1900? And when you think about it, 1900, depending on how old you are, you're thinking about your grandma, what life was like with your grandmother or your great-grandmother, how life was with them in terms of crime, the people who didn't even know where the keys to the front door were. I remember that. I grew up in Connecticut, which it wasn't a rural area. And I remember one time my mom asking for the keys to the front door, and I didn't even know we had keys for the front door. I came home one day, a couple of my friends are sitting in the living room watching television. Nobody cared. Hey, go over to Bear's house. Yeah, let's see what's he got to eat. Don't go in the refrigerator because Mom will kick your butt. But they just sitting in there watching television. Oh, and there was no remote. What am I talking about? You had to get up and turn the channel. That's how life was. Those of you who grew up around the time I did you worry about that someone was going to, jump out of a car and put you in some sort of pedo van? No. We rode our bikes around. We're all out in the woods playing, doing every kind of thing. Just make sure you got home before mom told you, make sure you're here when the sun goes down. Okay. Remember that? It's so long ago that people try to tell us what we're living now is normal. I used to walk to my grandmother's house where I would take my bike. I would go play baseball or whatever season of sport it was, and we'd play all day. And we're just a bunch of little knuckleheads. There wasn't any crime. If there was a fight, you had these. Nobody pulled out a pew-pew. Crazy, absolutely crazy. My younger sister, me too. My younger sister was my remote. Exactly. Yeah, get home by dark. And so if life was good back then, like you guys all remember at this point, you've seen the movies, Brighton Beach Memoirs, and people were playing stickball in the street and having fun. And yet you get Democrats who say stuff, when was America great? It was great when we didn't have to worry about somebody jumping out of a van, taking kids, and bringing them over to some place. And so now we've got crime at our lowest rate. They can't even compute it. Like, wait a second. It's at least 1,900. Probably because they don't have records beyond that. How many people got killed in the neighborhood in 1900? Killed? You mean by car accident? Oh, there weren't no cars. A horse run over? Buggy? You guys ever been to Amish country? Beautiful up there. Beautiful outside Amish country. And you're seeing the horse and buggies go by, and it's just a different kind of life that I don't think Americans really understand, that life was like that. It was different. And so with that and adding in the opportunity for prosperity and what he's doing, you can see why the Democrats have themselves tied up in complete flipping knots. They don't have anything to offer Americans. I said it in one of my tweets. Show me anywhere, anytime, some Democrat who says, I've got a policy to help Americans. And so it's an easy win because most people just want the opportunity and get out of our way. They're not doing this. So you tell me, Mr. Pollster, don't know who you're talking to, don't even know what questions you're asking, but how the hell can we be losing when things are going so well? I just don't know. All right, so before I leave you here, another good thing, and this is probably some of you guys didn't see it, President Trump had a signing ceremony about coal. Anybody remember coal? In fact, they were trying to do away with coal. And there's a whole bunch of coal miners and other people there. And again, as you're watching this, I won't interrupt it. The contrast, that word contrast that I continue to use. Look at the people in the audience. Congress people, senators, the president. They don't look afraid. It's almost as if they know that Democrats have nothing. So let me go ahead and put this on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Clean, beautiful coal. Clean, beautiful coal. We love clean, beautiful coal, don't we, Doug? Huh? I'm thrilled to welcome to the White House the men and women who light our cities And, you know, you do things that people don't even understand. There's so much. You do so much. You heat our homes, fuel our factories, and turn natural resources into American riches and dreams. Our amazing coal miners. Thank you very much, fellas. That's great. And I know you well. I know you well. I think I get about 97% of your vote. And you wouldn't want to do anything else. You wouldn't switch with a guy who had a beautiful penthouse apartment on Fifth Avenue. You wouldn't switch with that was me. I had a nice, easy life. And now I decided to do this. But you know what? We just hit the highest price in the history of the stock market, 50,000. And a lot of people are getting rich with your 401ks and everything else. So our country is back. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So it's pretty cool, right? So I want to just tell you, I really appreciate you being here. You're special people. You got mistreated very badly for a long period of time. But you've never had a better friend in the Oval Office than me, and I'm proud to officially name the undisputed, when did this come out, Mr. Speaker? The undisputed champion of beautiful, clean coal. We have to proceed. Always, I don't use the word coal. It needs a PR job because it had a bad reputation for a while. So we're not allowed to say the word coal anymore. It has to be preceded by beautiful, clean coal, okay? We're cleaning it up. Very good. And we're delighted to be joined by Secretary Doug Burgum, who's done a fantastic job for the typical miner increase by more than $2,200. I'd say that's pretty good, right? And I'll give you the bad news. It's the first time that's happened in more than 27 years. All right? Those other presidents didn't take good care of you. They didn't take good care of you at all. They didn't realize what they had. The last time many of us were together, I signed a historic executive order to ensure that America's beautiful, clean coal plants would keep running when we need it most, and that's 24 hours a day in rain, sleet, and snow. Coal can operate when other substances can't. The Biden administration, he had no clue what he was doing. Shut down dozens of coal plants. They shut them down. Literally, it seemed like one a week, one a day. They were shutting them down left and right as fast as you could. They were paying people to shut down a coal plant. And if we had stayed on the ruinous path, we would have seen mass suffering and rolling blackouts all over the country. We would have had blackouts right now all over the country. We would have had a country that, worse than blackouts, every other thing would have been wrong with it too, with all of the horrible things that took place at our border. And right now our border is 100% secure. First time in the history of our country, actually. And you see it all the time. So instead, when large parts of our country were hit with winter storms, it was coal that kept the power on, and it was coal that never was bothered by cold weather, warm weather. It's never bothered by anything, just keeps on chugging, right? During this vicious storm, and they had some really bad ones, coal generation surged 31%, while solar and wind totally collapsed. I'm not a big fan of those crazy windmills that are all made in China. They're made in China, but not used by China. Let's look for a couple of wind farms in China, see if you can find one. They sell us those things for fortunes, but we don't do them anymore. Have we done any this year, Doug? We're not going to do any, hopefully, for 4 years in this country. They're losers. They lose. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money with energy. And they lose a lot of money. And by the way, they're all over Europe. And, I was recently there, and it's not recognizable what they've done to their beautiful fields and those beautiful, beautiful scenic areas. And they put those wind turbines all over the place, and they're chugging, not doing a damn thing, except every time it goes around, it loses a fortune. It's horrible. They've lost their way. Not recognizable. And then I wonder why they don't like me over there. But you know who likes me over there? The people like me over there, I can tell you, because they know I'm right. More than 200 million Americans across 35 states were impacted by the storm, and the only reason most were able to take a hot shower was thanks to the power provided by the most reliable, dependable, and really dependable form of energy that we have, and that's clean, beautiful coal. Biden and the radical left wanted to abolish coal. They did everything they could, everything possible. But on day one of this administration, I ended the war on coal. We terminated the Green New Scam, and we withdrew from the unfair, one-sided Paris Climate Accord. That was another beauty we had. We paid $1 trillion. Nobody else had to pay 10 cents. Already I've saved 74 coal power plants from crushing restrictions and closures that would have been forced to shut down in the very immediate future. And today I'm proud to announce that the Tennessee Valley Authority is taking action to save 2 major coal plants in Tennessee. Tennessee Valley Authority. The plants are the Cumberland Fossil Plant and the Cumberland City. It's in Cumberland City. It's a big, beautiful thing that they just wanted to shut down. You know, the Tennessee Valley Authority has gone in a very stupid, very bad direction. The head of it, it's considered sort of semi-private. It's supposed to be semi-public, but it's semi-private. It's the highest paid government-type official in history. I think they pay them $10 million a year. They're paying them $10 million. I think the Speaker of the House wants to resign and head the Tennessee Valley Authority. And he could do a much better job, I can tell you that. Is that right, Doug? They pay him $10 million a year. Can you believe it? Well, Trump is on the scene now. We're going to make his life miserable. $10 million. I wonder what he got before he got that job. Probably making $150,000, right? And the Kingston fossil plant in Harriman, Tennessee, so they're going to remain open and they're going to be vibrant. They're going to be improved, built up, and continue to do all the things that they do. These 2 plants were slated for termination, but we're going to save over 450 jobs by keeping them going and going strong. In addition, I'm directing the Department of Energy to issue funds to coal plants in West Virginia, Ohio, North Carolina, and Kentucky to keep them online and keep those plants open. Right, Jim? And very importantly, we're also bringing our coal mines roaring back to life. Under 4 years of the Biden administration, Sleepy Joe, not a single permit was approved for a new coal mining project. Think of it. 4 years, not one permit. They were all being disapproved, actually. So not a single permit was approved. I didn't know that. But in 1 year of Trump, we've already approved over 70 permits for very big, very powerful mines that are going to be with us for many, many years to come. And we did that over the last 30 days. We did more than half of them because we have the system going now. It's a very reliable source, great source. If you look at some of the most prosperous places in the world, they run on coal. Since I took office, coal production is up by nearly 4 million tons a month after falling for decades. I mean, literally decades. Coal power generation is up by nearly 15% in my first year, and that number is going to be about 25 or 30% this coming year, at least. These pro-American energy policies are bringing energy prices way down. You see what's happening even with gasoline. I was in Iowa last week, and it was $1.85 a gallon. And many of them are $1.99 and $1.91 I saw. We have them under $2 a gallon now. A little while ago, just a year and a half ago, they were at $3.50, $4, $4.50. In California, $7 because of the crazy taxes. Coal is one of the lowest price energy sources, and it's probably considered by almost everybody to be the most reliable. It requires no subsidies because you make money with coal. More coal means lower cost and more money in the pocket of the American citizens and in the pocket, frankly, of the United States of America. That's not bad. Every once in a while, we have to take care of our country, right? With us today is Caleb Blackford, who drives a haul truck at Bear Run Mine in Duggar, Indiana. Great state. We love Indiana. I only like states that are one so big, I want to pick. No, I like them all. Where she has worked for 5 years, and she's joined by her wonderful husband, Eric, who also works at the mine, and their really incredible son, Isaac. And Kayla, if you could come forward, I'd like to just have you say a few words, please. Come on up. Where's Kayla? Kayla? Oh, hi, Kayla.
Thank you, Mr. President. As he said, my name is Kayla Blackford, and I am so proud and honored to be here today representing Peabody and coal miners across this country. My husband and I both work at Bear Run Mine in southern Indiana. I drive a haul truck, and I train others on this large piece of equipment. A haul truck is used to move rock or coal and is capable of carrying loads of nearly 250 tons. The tires are 12 feet tall. When I stand next to one, I barely reach the middle of the tire. It's the best job I've ever had, and not just because of the cool mom points I get for driving big equipment. My job supports my family, it supports our community, and it keeps the lights on and electricity affordable, not just in Indiana, but across the country. As demand increases and our lives become increasingly electrified, America needs to generate more electricity, not less. For years, coal miners have felt the weight of policies that made our future uncertain. Over the past year, that weight has begun to lift. My son, Isaac, who's here today, has friends whose parents also work at Bear Run. And when you grow up seeing huge mining equipment from the road, like Isaac and his friends do, you dream about the day when you get to run that equipment. When a mine closes, families don't just lose their jobs. They're often forced to leave their communities, their schools, and their support systems behind. The common sense policies to keep coal plants running implemented by this administration mean that my husband and I can keep working, stay where we are, and continue raising our son in our community that we call home. And the impact is even greater than that because you, Mr. President, have single-handedly kept utility prices affordable, the lights on, and our jobs alive. We are real people under these hard hats. On behalf of America's coal miners, thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing the value of coal and the value of the people who power this industry every day.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. So nice to meet you. Thank you very much for all of you. Thank you. Sorry, I'll take that.
Good job. She did a good job, right? Look at the boy. He's so proud of mom, huh? Did a good job? Couldn't do better, right? Anyway, thank you, Kelly. That's really nice. Thank you very much. Coal is also critical to our national security, vital to everything from steel production to shipbuilding and artificial intelligence. It's incredible what's happening with coal. And it's also incredible how clean they're able to keep it now with all of the new techniques. By using it, they're able to do things environmentally that are amazing. You see that. That's why I'm also pleased to announce that in just a moment, I will sign an executive order that directs the Department of War to work directly with coal plants on the new power purchasing agreements, ensuring that we have more reliable power and stronger and more resilient grid power. And we're going to be buying a lot of coal through the military now, and it's going to be less expensive and actually much more effective than what we have been using for many, many years. And again, with the environmental progress that's been made on coal, it's going to be just as clean. As some of you may know today, February 11th is Thomas Edison's birthday. There could be no better way to honor the legacy of the man who lit the world. Did you know that? The man who lit the world, Isaac. Do you know that? You ever hear of Thomas Edison? A little before your time, slightly. But then to reaffirm our commitment to American energy independence and the American energy dominance. We're going to be dominant, and we are dominant right now. We have a new group of people that we're very close to, become very close to, and that's called Venezuela, where we're taking in this case, oil. We had 50 million barrels of oil that we have floating right now to Houston to be refined, and we're getting energy from all different sources. And so oil and gas is fantastic. So many of them are so good, but we're not going to use the bad ones. America is now the #1 energy producer in the world. We are by far #1. In fact, we're very soon going to be #1 by double what #2 is. And under our leadership, we're becoming a massive energy exporter. In just the past few months, we've made historic trade deals with Japan, Korea, India, and others to increase our coal exports dramatically. We're now exporting coal to all over the world, and the quality of our coal is supposed to be, I mean, I'm not an expert in coal, but I've been very good to the people that are. The quality of our coal is supposed to be the finest anywhere in the world. From West Virginia to Wyoming, from Ohio to Montana, and all across the country, we're lifting up our hardworking American miners like nobody has ever done before. We're bringing down costs of American consumers, and together we're making the most of the magnificent land that God gave us to rebuild the greatest economy and the greatest nation in the history of the world. Another one of my favorite words is the word tariff. You know, tariff is very, I know they want to hear that little story. I used to say it's my favorite word. They said, what about God? What about religion? What about family and your wife, your children? So now I make it my 5th favorite word. Oh, you have no idea. I suffered. Kayla, I was suffering from the fake news media. They were going after me when I said it was my favorite word. So I make it #5, and I think I'm generally speaking okay. They'd like it to be a little bit later than that. But because of tariffs, you saw that it was just announced, our trade deficit has gone down. Now, if you go down 1 point, 2 points, you're like a genius. It's gone down 78%. 78%. Can you believe it? And we have to fight. Right, Speaker? And we have to fight. Just came out. Everyone's saying, that can't be right. 78% reduction in our trade deficit. And next year, we're going to be positive if we keep it all going. We're waiting for a very important decision from the Supreme Court. But I want to thank the speakers here because you have fought with me. You got it very early. Now almost everybody's getting it. But it's numbers that we've never seen. The other thing is breaking 7,000 on the S&P, and very importantly, 50,000 yesterday. 50,000 we broke on the Dow. And if you remember, when I won, they said if he could ever produce 50,000 by the end of his 4th term, by the end of his 4th year, it would be unbelievably successful. Well, we produced 50,000 in excess now, went up today, in excess of 50,000 at the end of my 1st year. So that's some difference. And that's because of tariffs. So we're doing numbers that nobody thought were possible. The economy is rich. I tell the story that in Saudi Arabia, the king said, you know, sir, a year and a half ago, we were all saying you were a dead country, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. That's true. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world, and a lot of reasons. So once again, I'd like to thank you for the tremendous honor of being here, and especially these gentlemen in the front row and a couple of you in the second row. What happened to the guys in the second row? They couldn't make it to the front. What's wrong with them? They don't shovel it as well, right? But I want to thank you and invite the chairman of our National Coal Council, Peabody Energy CEO, which is a great company, by the way, Jim Grech, to come up and say a few words. Please, Jim. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we stand here today representing the thousands of coal miners across the country to express our deep gratitude to you, sir, for the actions you've taken to support our industry. Your leadership and decisive actions have sent a powerful message. We have a president who, more than any other, deeply understands the importance of coal in supporting the future of this nation. Sir, you know what most people don't. The U.S. has more energy in its coal than any nation has in any single energy source. We have more energy than Russia has in its gas, and we have more energy than Saudi Arabia has in its oil. Yet before you, sir, presidents were afraid to allow coal to help keep electricity abundant and low cost. And Mr. President, that changed with you. We saw the impact of your wise policy in real time during the recent winter storm as temperatures plunged and demand surged. The coal plants you directed to keep open provided the stability and resilience that the grid needed. And today, thanks to your leadership, sir, we are working with your administration on the potential to build new coal-fueled power plants and having coal emerge as a source of rare earth elements and critical minerals that are essential for our national security and economic future. And because of you, sir, the mining towns that once feared for their futures are seeing new investment, renewed optimism, and a sense of pride restored. Families feel more secure, local businesses are growing again, communities that had been written off are reinvigorated. For the thousands of workers across this industry, your support has meant more than policy, sir. It has meant dignity, stability, and the recognition that their work matters in making America great again. So, sir, Mr. President, on behalf of Michael Day, the chairman of the Washington Coal Club, and all the coal miners across our great country, I'd like to ask there's some executives and coal miners are going to join us on stage, and we are going to present you an award, sir.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, fellas, very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sir, to show our appreciation, the trophy says the undisputed champion of beautiful, clean coal. Thank you, sir. Make a lot of money now, right? Thank you. It's great to bring it back. You were treated very badly, and now you're treated really well. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, very much. Appreciate it. Speaker, thank you. We don't use auto pens. There's no auto pen. Okay, come on up. That's great.
Down, please.
Okay. Here you go, fellas. Take these. There you go. I'll get up. Okay, come on. You guys okay?
Yeah, good.
Thank you very much. Good luck. Make a lot of money. Have a good time.
All right, so got that done. While that was going on, or a little bit beforehand, before I started, I saw some of you guys talking about it in the chat. The Save America Act has passed the House of Representatives. Once it's signed into law, you must prove citizenship to register to vote photo ID at the polls. Voter ID will take effect immediately. Mail-in ballots must have a copy of your photo ID. Now it's on to the Senate, which it's going to be a little bit more difficult, a lot more difficult to get it passed in the Senate. For those of you that want to see what the vote total is, I'm not sure who it was, but it was 217 yays from the Republicans. Nobody voted no. One person didn't vote at all. Maybe I'm not even going to speculate who that was. On the Democrat side, what was very interesting is one person voted yes. So the final tally was 218 to 213. It did pass. Now it's got to go to the Senate, and it's all up to John Thune. He's got to get this thing pushed through. Last time I checked, there was like 45 senators that are voting yes. I don't know how he's going to get to 60. I really don't know how he's going to get there, but we shall see. So I'm hoping tonight that I showed you some information that is completely counter programming to what you've seen all day and how people have been talking about different things. And don't leave, because I have a special thing as well. We're going to do a different kind of after party tonight. I have a treat for you. I'm not going to do the normal after party. I've got something that probably most of you are going to want to stick around for and watch. And I'm planning it that way because it's a special thing. I'll tell you about it in a second. Let me go ahead and read the super chats. Got a nice one here. Who's this? Rodney Rosado, big BBC, big beautiful Cole. Thank you, Barry and Mod Squad. You guys and gals are always the best. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you very much. Let me put a nice little heart on that as well. All right, Badaskets. Thank you. Badaskets twice. Barry, I invested with Lear Capital, Silver Bars. I spoke with Nick. It was easy for her first time, or his first time. Congratulations. Let's do that. Cutting edge. Oh yes, Khomeini is already moving 300 billion all over the banks and accounts. Excuse me. The bad dogs are going to find out if they don't get away from Iran. Yeah. Wonder where he's going to end up. Liz says, my daughter just bought a $150,000 house in Northeast Ohio, USDA financing with 6% seller concessions. That's another thing people don't talk enough about, and they don't know to ask. If you're not familiar with what seller concessions are, is the seller can essentially say, I'll knock 6 points off, 6% so that you can buy the house. And she's taken $0 to closing. It can be done. Well, that's a strategy nobody really talks about anymore, seller concessions. Johnny Bravo, not tired of winning. Fume Drummer, we just filed our joint return. Income is up and so is the refund. Just renewed our lease for 24 months with only a 2.7% increase. Even in New York State, things are getting better. Congratulations. Fume Drummer, again, we can gauge the economy by the length and frequency of the coal trains. Exactly. Johnny, we need the winning clip. Oh, you want some of that? Okay, hold on. Let me give you some of that.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
You see, they don't want us to understand all the good stuff that's happening, and you guys have spent the better half of 2 hours just hearing this good stuff tonight. You didn't have to see any stupid clips. You didn't have to see Jasmine Crockett or AOC or any of these people blah 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 say crap stuff that actually matters to you. Everything you were shown tonight should in some way, shape, or form matter to you. Making Blankenship. One press tried to ask about, at the end there, she tried to scream it out. Like, you're in the wrong room. Read the room. Neil, brother, thank you. Hi, Barry. Join late, have to watch later. Such awesome news. Thank you to Fanfare Team for sharing the wins. Love it. God bless Trump. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. And by the way, tomorrow, I'm not sure what time we go live. I have to see what the schedule looks like. But we are going to be resuming giveaways, all kinds of giveaways and goodies. These things, We're probably going to eventually look at some T-shirts as we're getting towards spring. Obviously, the Bible. So we got a whole bunch of giveaways. I just wanted to say one thing for somebody if they're watching. Mary Kellums, I got your email finally, and I will respond to you about your property question. So we'll do that. All right. That being said, I have a whole different kind of after party for you. Because this after party, it's quiet. You guys can chat as you're watching it. If you don't want to stick around, you don't have to stick around. It's about the same length as the normal after party. But in addition to President Trump having his event, Melania had an event at a hospital for kids that are with afflicted diseases and bad stuff. But she went there and she spent time celebrating Valentine's Day with these kids. It's incredible. So you guys can watch this. So this will be the after party for tonight, and you can chat. It's quiet. It's not like it's a speech or anything. It's just her, and you guys can make comments. Again, this is probably something you haven't seen today. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Yes, how long are you here? Good. Yes? Yeah. You want to join us to get some art and crafts to do? Yeah? Thank you so much for beautiful roses. That's so nice. It's nice to celebrate Valentine's Day, correct? A little bit early, right? How old are you? I am 11. 11. Beautiful. I love your sparkles. Thank you. They look so glamorous. Yes, please. Hello. Can I put it in? Thank you. Nice to meet you. How are you? Nice to meet you. How are you? Nice to meet you. Where shall I see? Back here? How are you? Oh, you're so quiet. It's a celebration day, right? It's a celebration day. A little early. Thank you. So what do you do? Yes. Today we're going to make Valentine's Day bouquets. Yes. So you have all the materials in front of you. So you'll use the stickies to glue on the hearts and the straws and then decorate Incredible. You doing well? Yeah, you feeling good? Yeah. That's nice. That's beautiful.
How's your day been?
Very good, thank you. Very good. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's my fourth time, right? Fourth time. I was before, and so it's nice to be here. Yeah, of course. I want to say hello. I just heard it's a big construction going on. Next year will be finished, so we have a progress. So that's plus. So we will use spaces, more patients, more children coming in to help them. So it's all good.
And also a bridge that will, so kids don't have to cross the parking lot anymore. The bridge will go to the hospital. And they've all been part of it. They're
Yeah, no, it's very important to speak up and say what you need and what is good, what is not good. So if you're here, you're using it, right? Yeah. So what else do you like? Do you like music? Do you like art?
I like music. I like really good music. It doesn't matter the genre.
Yeah. Do you like to dance?
I like to dance. I think I have too left feet. I think
experience. You?
Yeah, it was kind of boring. I fell asleep in the second quarter. It's kind of boring. And then when I woke up, it was over and I didn't just see all the confetti and I was so confused. Yeah. But I don't, from the, reading comments on X, I don't think I listened to
I don't eat much sweets, so it's sugar is not healthy for us. I do like M&M's. This is very cute. It's a small
Honestly, I was a little picky over there. It's kind of hard to think straight when you're looking at perfection in the eyes. There you go.
He's a charmer. I think girls are in trouble. Right? Think so? Yes. I think so too. So you want to put some
What do you have a favorite candy that you want to fill yours up with? There's Starburst, Hershey Kisses, M&M.
Which one is your favorite? Which one you like the best? Which one is your favorite? What do you like? You go ahead. I finished mine.
You